There are a few pieces of fiction that I've consumed over the years that made me say, masterpieces that were hard to emphasize how much of a masterpiece they were. Attack on Titan, BoJack Horseman, Cowboy Bebop, etc. So the algorithm is probably thinking, why don't you make an Attack on Titan video then? There's plenty of AOT glaze to go around. You know what doesn't get enough glaze?
Today was the worst Friday ever!
Fred the movie is not just a movie, it is masterfully crafted cinematic art. Mr. Robot, Joker, and even Fight Club, despite coming out 11 years before Fred, are cheap knockoffs. I get it, everyone is trying to make a deep and complex analysis on the human psyche, but Jesus, did you have to be so obvious about it? So on the surface, Fred sounds like a typical teen comedy. The loser who gets bullied wants to get with the popular girl. What did I miss? The main character has a high-pitched voice and screams in like every scene.
She's my girlfriend!
He's obsessed with singing. Literally every character in the movie is obsessed with singing. The bully, Kevin, who happens to be one of Fred's neighbors, is a three-dimensional character who I consider to be more of an antagonist along the lines of Griffith than just a cliche bully. It disgusts me how so many people turn a blind eye to the layers of complexity that consumes Kevin. He's an insecure teenager who is fazed by anything that could shatter his ego. He bullies Fred because he knows he's an easy target, which says a lot about Kevin, the guy that is also obsessed with singing, feels the need to make up lies about hanging out with a popular girl, and has the insecurities of Homelander.
I can sing, dude!
Is deep down a loser who only masks how much of a loser he is by bullying an even bigger loser.
Oh my god, man! Is anybody listening to this? You're such a loser!
The most fascinating thing about Kevin is that him and Fred don't always have the worst confrontations.
There's gonna be lots of games and food and music. Oh, that sounds like fun!
Alright. Okay.
Like, as far as hero-villain dynamics go, this one reigns supreme. Now let's talk about Fred. Talk about psychological thrillers. Fred is a schizophrenic teenager who can't blur the line between fiction and reality. He thinks John Cena is his dad. He talks to an alternate Tyler Durden version of himself. We'll get to that later. He talks to imaginary deers, his dead childhood friend, this fucking guy. Oh, and he's convinced that he's in a relationship with Judy, the popular girl who just happens to be Fred's neighbor. Until she wasn't, since she moved away. This makes Fred pretty mad, so he decides to do what any normal teenager would do. He walks to her new house, and on this journey that should have taken one bus ride, he has his friend Bertha, who also just happens to be one of his neighbors, bury him in the sand at a beach. He then commits public indecency at a laundromat, goes inside a car wash, tries to steal a dog,
Squirrel.
runs all over the fucking country, all while screaming at the top of his lungs whenever he has to deal with any minor inconveniences. So I'm gonna go into personally one of my favorite scenes in the film, Fred's first interaction with Durf. So Durf is basically Fred's alter ego of pure edginess. He's honest, he doesn't care what people think, and he's just a chill dude. He's not afraid to call out Fred on his delusions of being with Judy. Wait a second, they're the same person. Fred thinks him and Judy are a thing, but his alter ego calls him out on... Okay, so basically deep down there is a side of Fred that knows he's deluding himself, but he still chooses to delude himself anyway. It's the details like this that make the movie so special. Fred isn't just a schizophrenic person, he's a schizophrenic person who knows he's a schizophrenic person who is so scared of facing reality that he'd rather convince himself that his delusions are real. That is some Evangelion levels of storytelling. Honestly, the humor in this film is genuinely funny.
Oh my damn, I double way inside him!
Yeah, well, nobody wants to see you in your underwear.
I beg to differ. I've been told my body's pretty attractive.
Look, if people don't like this movie, that's fine. Most people wouldn't understand it. But it's not going to stop me from pointing out the obvious that so many people are too ignorant to notice. Like a few months back, I watched the anime Ergo Proxy. Like Fred, that show goes into the themes of identity, free will, and the nature of humanity, and most people overlooked its complex nature and considered it boring and confusing. Fred the movie unfortunately suffers from the Ergo Proxy dilemma. I feel like the creators of the film had plans for him to go down some kind of villain arc, because the signs were always there. Remember the song that played during Kevin's introduction? Well, remember when Fred sung that exact same song later on in the film?
Yeah, yeah.
Or what about the bus shot where half of his face is clouded in darkness? There's a lot more I can say about this film, such as the sequels, the TV show, the hundreds of videos worth of lore, but hey, less is more and I don't want to taint the spirit of Fred. This movie is beyond a masterpiece and is in my opinion the greatest film ever made. And you know what? I'd love to see a 4th Fred movie someday. You know what? Fuck it. I would love to be the one to make Fred 4 someday. It would be an honor to bring back the original cast for another sequel. Who knows, I might have a script already. I sound like I'm deluding myself just like Fred, but hey, never say never.